Then a throne room, vast, empty, cold. King Grey had everything. The strongest kingdom, the greatest warriors, wealth beyond counting. And every night he sat alone in his throne room, with nobody to share any of it with. Power had bought him everything except a reason to have it. He died that way, cold, alone, in the middle of a mystery he never got to solve. Then he woke up as a baby. Same memories, same skills, different world, different name. And for the first time in either life, a mother who held him and cried with joy. That moment, a warrior king being cradled like an infant and realizing he is finally, genuinely loved, is where the beginning after the end starts, and it never lets you go. Act 1. The king who forgot how to want things. King Grey on battlefields, then empty palace, then infant's eye view of a warm cottage. In his first life, Grey was the product of ambition and war. He fought his way from commoner to king, accumulating power the way other people accumulate regrets, methodically, ruthlessly, without pause. He won. He reached the absolute top. And the moment he got there, he looked around and realized he had no idea who he was without the fight. He was assassinated before he could figure it out, not by a stranger, by someone who exploited the one thing he'd let himself have, a moment of peace. He wakes up as Arthur Leywin, infant, small town, a world of magic and mana and creatures that shouldn't exist. His parents, Reynolds and Alice, are retired adventurers who moved to the countryside to have a quiet life. They're warm, funny, deeply in love, and instantly devoted to this strange, too alert baby who stares at the world with old, knowing eyes. Arthur absorbs everything. Within weeks, he understands the language. Within months, he's categorizing the magic system. By age 3, he awakens as a mage, something that almost never happens that young, and accidentally levels his bedroom. His parents don't know they're raising a king, and Arthur, for the first time in either life, is not in a hurry to become one again. Act 2. The world he's been dropped into. Visuals. The continent of Decathan, elves, dwarves, humans in fragile peace, a distant horizon with something approaching. Decathan is a continent of humans, elves, and dwarves in fragile coexistence, held together by the threat of a distant enemy, the Vritra clan, ancient, godlike beings who were banished long ago and now rule a continent called Alacria. The peace on Decathan is borrowed. Everyone who knows history knows the debt is coming due. Arthur doesn't know all of this yet. He grows up the way he never got to in his first life, with scraped knees and magic lessons, and a best friend who's an elven princess named Tessia, who he meets when she's lost and alone in the forest. Their friendship becomes one of the emotional anchors of the entire series. He trains relentlessly, but not out of ambition this time, out of something more complicated, the memory of dying alone. the people around him he can't bear to lose again. He becomes a quadra-elemental mage, which almost never happens. 2 of those elements have rare variants, ice and lightning, that manifest as something even rarer. Then, a dragon chooses him. Sylvie, the last egg of an ancient lineage, bonds with Arthur before she even hatches. She becomes his companion, his conscience, and eventually one of the most powerful beings in the story. The bond between them reflects the bond Arthur is finally learning to form with other people. Unconditional, terrifying in its depth. And then the Vritra come. Act 3. The war he didn't ask for. Political tension, disappearances, the invasion arriving slowly like weather. The invasion doesn't arrive with trumpets. It arrives slowly. Spies, political manipulation, disappearances. By the time Decathlon understands what's happening, it's already too late to stop the opening moves. And Arthur discovers the thing that completely reframes everything. He wasn't reborn in this world by accident. Agrona Vritra, the architect of the invasion, caused his reincarnation. He extracted something from Grey's original soul and used it to engineer Arthur's birth into a family Agrona would control. He missed by a margin, but he knows Arthur is here, and he wants what he originally came for. This is where TBATE shifts from a warm fantasy coming-of-age story into something darker and harder. The family Arthur built, the friends he finally let himself have, the elven princess who knows him better than anyone. All of it becomes leverage. All of it becomes a target. And Arthur, who spent his entire first life becoming the most powerful human in his world, has to figure out whether power is what this life actually needs from him, or whether there's something harder required, something he has never been able to do. Trust people with the fight. This is a story about a man learning to want things again after winning everything and feeling nothing. About a king who became a child and discovered that childhood, as it turns out, is the thing he needed most. And about what happens when the world he built his second life in looks at him and says, "We need you to be Grey again." And he has to decide whether Grey was ever worth being. TBATE's web novel concluded in 2025 after 529 chapters. The anime aired its first season in 2025, with Season 2 starting April 2026. The manhwa is ongoing through Tapas, published in print by Yen Press. If you've been reading it, you know exactly where the gut punch moments hit. If you haven't, I'm genuinely envious of the experience you're about to have. Next Gatescroll video on TBATE, Arthur's training arc at Xyrus Academy, the moment Sylvie reveals her true potential, and the first signs of Vritra infiltration that most first-time readers completely missed. Subscribe. New video every day. Comment below. First life King Grey or second life Arthur? Who actually wins in a fight? I'll see you